In this clip, we'll create a light pass with fill colors on the body of our robot. Alright, now that we've got our colors all filled in on the engine and the body part here, we're going to spend a little bit more time just to fill in some extra detail that'll help us down the road. And what I want to do is create a sense of light even at this early stage, and the way we're going to do that is to just define a little bit more than we have now the shadows and highlights on these things as much as we can with what the polygon fill will allow us. So let's go over to our polyfill tool, and let's just go ahead and start at the bottom here. I'm just going to select that base red and I'm just going to darken it ever so slightly. Not a lot, just a little bit. And we'll set this on quad, and we're going to darken this underside. That may be a little too much. I want to go not quite as dark as this. So we're going to bring it up just a touch. There, that's not bad. Alright, and I'll bring this up just to about there. About where you'd expect the shadow to fall off. And obviously we're going to detail this out more later on. And these inner parts here, these would be in shadow, so I'm going to actually fill that all the way up. And there's no science to this, it's just whatever you feel makes sense for whatever light source you've chosen. Generally speaking, I just think of it in terms of light coming from above. You don't want to get too crazy, because this should work in basically any lighting condition. You never know how you might want to use it, but the paint job itself should have its own sense of lighting. You don't want to get too carried away, or it can become a little too specific. Alright, so we've got that bottom part painted up. Don't know if I want to hit this necessarily. I'm going to leave that as is. Since we've got the same red over here though, let's start on these. So we definitely want to hit this bottom section. Let's try our UV and see. Oh, there you go. That works. These insides here. Perfect. That's the kind of definition that we want to bring out, and it'll help really define these more clearly. Don't see much of it. Well, do the quad tool. It's one of those situations where I'm going to go over to our exploded view. Well, not as helpful as it could be, but at least I get a clearer view. Let's go ahead and fill in these bits. Definitely the underside. That makes sense. And like I said, there's no science to this. You can take it as far as you want or do as little as you want. Another thing that I like to do, and this can really take time, but it really looks good, and you just have to decide when it's worth it, is to take these edges if you have bevels. Let's brighten this up quite a bit, and just go ahead and highlight these edges, and that will really help define your shape. Oop, not there. Especially when you got something metal like this that might have those worn metal edges, and we're gonna obviously do a lot more hand-painted detail over this later on. That can go a long way to highlighting your shapes. I don't want to go too crazy, because like I said, we'll get back to this later if we want to put something on. Alright. Glad these are all mirrored, because that would take forever. Alright. There. Alright, so let's go to our brush. And there you can see it seems extreme right now, but we'll blend that in later. And it really helps make some definition just pop out of there, when otherwise it would just kind of all blend together, especially with that much geometry packed in. All right, pretty good. I'm not sure how much I want to do in here, because it's going to be a lot more of a AO type lighting. So that may be all I do for now. I'm going to darken up the bottom side of this. Darken that up just a touch. Go back to UVs. All right, yes. A little darker than that. There we go. I think that looks good. I'm going to do the same thing on this underside here. There we are. Looking good. Maybe back in there, just to give us some contrast. This is one of those situations where, again, I want to come over to my exploded section. Just a little bit easier to get at. Anything that'll save you some time. Okay. All right, and I think that is probably about good. That's about all the lighting we're going to do on the body part. We'll come back to that later if we need to. You can always come back to this layer and add more, but I think that'll do for now. All right, in this clip, we created a light pass with fill colors on the body of our robot.